The Chattahoochee River is one of 3 rivers in a metropolitan area of 1 million people or more that can support trout. With the expansion and development of neighborhoods, the river has seen major change with runoff and sediment issues, as shown in the video. More than 4 million people, including 70% of Metro Atlanta, rely on the Chattahoochee River for drinking water. Apart from providing drinking water for over 4 million people, the Chattahoochee also serves as a great place for recreational use. One of the popular ways people enjoy the river is trout fishing. Over the last 10 years, the quality of fish has decreased substantially. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, the average fish was about 16 to 18 inches long, and in the last couple of years, the length average has decreased to about 6 to 10 inches. One of the main culprits for this is runoff. Fulton County's poor management and maintenance of sewer manholes and sewage lines has caused overflows and spills into the Chattahoochee, making it difficult for fish to survive and have water clean enough to reproduce in. As an avid angler that fishes the Chattahoochee on a regular basis, I decided to ask some people familiar with the river how the changes in the fishery have affected them. These were their answers.
Hey, so my name is Nathan Davis. I'm one of the guides here at Alfred Outfitters. In terms of how the fishing's changed or just been different in the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of the water itself has been kind of the issue where our turnovers are longer, which turnovers when the lake, Sidney Lanier, flips end over end, and what that does is it causes the water to get real kind of like pea colored, and it's real just dirty. So the fishing is it's been affected by that. That being said, though, you know, the hatcher's done a good job of putting rainbows in their stocker rainbows, and we have it's pretty cool. We've got a natural reproduction of brown trout on the hooch. We haven't stocked brown trout since 2004, so you know we've got the state record brown trout came out of the hooch. So there's that. You know, it's like hunting for a unicorn. You know, they're not always there, but there's plenty of 8 to 10 inch browns that come from the hooch. So you know, with the Riverkeeper and their efforts, the river's been better, but there was on it was a hard decline, and now it's coming back up just with all the conservation.
Yeah. So coming from the viewpoint of a young angler on the Team USA fly fishing team, how has having a fishery like the Chattahoochee affected your life in a positive way?
So for me, being able to have a fishery this close to me has really given me an opportunity to learn, especially it may not be the easiest fishery, as I found out very quickly at the beginning, but as you progress as an angler, you definitely get better, and it's really rewarding. It's one of the streams that's more technical. It's very rewarding once you figure out what you're doing. It's not like, you can go out there some days and there's fish everywhere. I don't know exactly how many fish there are per mile, but there's got to be at least 5,000 or so. And so when you realize that, and you go in there and you catch 2 fish in a day, it can be demoralizing, but it can also be very, very motivational. That's sweet, lady.
Hey there, my name is Jeff Wright. I'm manager of Alfred Outfitters here. Chattahoochee River's been my home water just ever since I can remember. I grew up here in Alpharetta, and the Hooch was always the local spot that I was able to sneak out to for a couple hours over the weekend or during the week, depending on releases from Buford Dam. But just growing up, I mean, it was always a great local spot to go catch rainbows and browns. Something I've always liked about the Hooch has been the natural reproductivity of the browns that has, become. They haven't stocked browns in the Hooch for at least the past 10 years. So all the browns that you catch are naturally reproducing fish. Rainbows are stocked, but there have definitely been changes that I've seen on the Hooch just over the years fishing, and I'd say a lot of that comes from sediment that gets flushed downstream from Buford Dam. Or not from Buford Dam, but from the releases that cause erosion from the banks further upstream. Buford Dam generates around 5% of the electrical or hydropower for the state of Georgia. It's a small percentage, but they are required to release a certain amount of water and maintain certain flows, and so sometimes those releases can kind of be a little counterproductive with what us as anglers would prefer to have for fishing conditions. And part of that is just the availability and times that we can get out to fish, and then also what we see is based on mandates, they can have larger generations, which can again cause these releases that again will cause more erosion on banks up around the areas below Bowman's Island and down through Settles Bridge and McGinnis and some different areas like that on the Hooch. So you'll notice up there that you have like these banks that are cut away a little bit more, and in a lot of that bank erosion you notice now at places like Jones Bridge and Island Ford and areas that the lower end of Island Ford where I used to fish and it used to be gravel bottom, and now you have these sandbars that have developed both on river left and river right that you see is just a buildup from those heavy releases. So one of the cool things is that this is definitely something that a lot of anglers are aware of, and that different groups like Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, groups like River Through Atlanta, Alpharetta Outfitters, Sweetwater, all these people that have interest in the river and the protection of the habitat of the Hooch and our fisheries. We desire to prevent some of this erosion. We desire to have clean water and stuff like that, and prevent runoff that is unnecessary. So the cool thing is a lot of people have rallied around different groups and different events like Down the Hatch, events sponsored by Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, different films and stuff that promote the great fishery that we have just outside of Atlanta. That's really uncommon for a city of such a large population. So.
The first course of action is educating residents about their local watersheds and how they can have a positive impact. Many of the people living in and around Atlanta and its surrounding counties have no clue how some very simple acts can negatively impact the Chattahoochee. Things like flushing certain paper products into the sewers, letting soap run into creeks, and using heavy machinery to move earth near creeks and streams. All have negative impacts.